From stranger to daughter, the alien girl's journey into a human home. Zara pressed her palm against the cold metal of her ship's viewport, watching the swirling blue and green planet grow larger beneath her. Kepler 442b had been her home for 18 Earth years, a world of crystalline towers and singing winds, where her people communicated through harmonious tones that could make flowers bloom. But now Kepler 442b was nothing more than a distant memory, destroyed by solar flares that had consumed everything she'd ever known. Her ship shuddered violently, emergency lights flashing red across the cramped cockpit. The gravitational pull of this strange world, Earth, her navigation system called it, was stronger than expected. Sparks flew from damaged circuits as she fought to maintain control, her silver-blue skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns of distress. "Please," she whispered in her melodic native tongue, though no one was there to hear. "Just let me find somewhere safe." The ship screamed through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, crash-landing in a wheat field outside the small town of Cedar Falls, Iowa. The impact threw Zara against the wall, and darkness claimed her. When she awoke, unfamiliar voices surrounded her. Through the cracked viewport, she saw faces peering in. A middle-aged man with kind eyes and graying hair, a woman with worry lines creasing her forehead, and 2 children hiding behind their parents. Is she alive?" whispered the woman. Sarah Martinez, though Zara didn't yet know her name. "I think so, Mom," said the teenage boy, David, his voice cracking with excitement and fear. "Look at her skin. It's like she's glowing." Tom Martinez, the father, approached cautiously. As a mechanic, he'd seen plenty of strange things, but nothing like this. The girl inside the metallic pod couldn't be older than his own daughter, yet her skin held an otherworldly luminescence, and her hair seemed to shift colors like an aurora. When Zara's eyes fluttered open, large violet eyes that seemed to hold the depth of distant galaxies, the family gasped. Fear flickered across their faces, but it was quickly replaced by something unexpected. Compassion. "She's hurt," said Emma, the youngest at 12, stepping forward despite her parents' protests. "We have to help her." Tom looked at his wife, seeing his own thoughts reflected in her eyes. This was beyond anything they'd ever imagined, but this girl, this being, was clearly in pain and alone. "We can't just leave her here," Sarah said softly, maternal instincts overriding her fear. "What if the government finds her? What if someone wants to hurt her?" As if understanding their concern, Zara attempted to speak, her voice producing a series of musical tones that somehow conveyed gratitude and desperation. Her universal translator had been damaged in the crash, but emotions needed no translation. Tom made a decision that would change all their lives. "We take her home, at least until she heals." They helped Zara from her damaged ship, supporting her as she took her first shaky steps on Earth soil. The sensation was strange. This planet's gravity, the texture of grass beneath her feet, the scent of growing things that was both alien and somehow familiar. As they walked toward the Martinez family's farmhouse, Zara looked up at the endless sky, so different from her homeworld's dual suns and purple horizons. She was alone, orphaned by cosmic forces beyond her control, but for the first time since her world died, she felt a flutter of something that might have been hope. The farmhouse ahead glowed with warm yellow light, and through the windows, she could see more evidence of life, photographs on walls, books on shelves, the comfortable chaos of a family home. It was nothing like the crystal spires of Kepler 442b, but there was something beautiful about its simplicity, its humanity. "Welcome to Earth," Tom said gently, not knowing if she understood, but hoping the kindness in his voice would translate. The Martinez family's dining room had never hosted anyone quite like Zara. She sat stiffly at their worn wooden table, her bioluminescent skin dimming and brightening with her emotions, casting dancing shadows on the floral wallpaper. 3 days had passed since the crash, and communication remained a challenge. Sarah had set out their best china, as if receiving an alien visitor was akin to hosting Sunday dinner for the pastor. She'd prepared a feast of earth foods, roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans from their garden, and fresh-baked bread. But Zara only stared at the spread with confusion, her violet eyes wide with uncertainty. "Maybe she doesn't eat solid food," David suggested, pushing his glasses up his nose. At 17, he was fascinated by the scientific implications of their guest. What if her people absorb nutrients differently? Emma, ever the practical one despite her 12 years, had been experimenting with different approaches. She'd noticed that Zara's skin patterns responded to music, growing brighter and more vibrant when Emma played her violin. Now she hummed softly, and sure enough, Zara's features relaxed. "Look," Emma whispered, "she likes music. Maybe that's how they communicate on her planet." Zara understood more than they realized. Her universal translator was slowly repairing itself, picking up fragments of their language. She could sense their kindness, their genuine desire to help, but everything about this world felt overwhelming. The gravity was different, making her feel heavy and clumsy. The air tasted strange, filled with unfamiliar scents of earth and growing things. Even the light from their sun was harsher than the gentle dual stars of her home world. "Zara," she said suddenly, placing a hand over her heart. The family fell silent. "Zara," she repeated, then pointed to herself. "Zara," Tom repeated slowly, smiling. "That's your name?" She nodded, then mimicked his gesture, pointing at him expectantly. "Tom," he said, pointing to himself. "I'm Tom." "Tom," she repeated, her melodic accent making his simple name sound like music. "Sarah," his wife introduced herself, then pointed to the children. "David." "Emma." For the next hour, they worked through basic vocabulary. Zara proved to be a quick learner, her damaged translator beginning to bridge the gap between their languages. But communication was about more than words. When Emma accidentally knocked over her water glass, Zara's skin flared bright blue with alarm. Without thinking, she raised her hand, and the spilled water began to rise from the table, droplets dancing in the air like liquid stars before settling back into the glass. The family stared in stunned silence. "Did you just—" David began. Zara's skin flushed deep purple with embarrassment. On her world, such abilities were as natural as breathing, but she could see the shock in their faces. Fear crept into her heart. Would they reject her now that they'd seen what she could do? Instead, Emma clapped her hands in delight. "That was amazing. Can you do it again?" "Emma?" Sarah warned, but her voice held wonder rather than fear. Tom leaned forward, his mechanic's mind working. "The water, you controlled it somehow. Is that normal for your people?" Zara struggled to find the words, her translator still glitching. "Yes," she managed. "Water sings to me. All elements sing." To demonstrate, she touched the dying flower in the centerpiece. Under her touch, it bloomed anew, petals unfurling in impossible colors. Blues and purples that didn't exist in Earth's spectrum. "Incredible," David breathed. "You're manipulating matter at a molecular level." Zara didn't understand all his words, but she felt his excitement rather than fear. For the first time since arriving on Earth, she smiled, an expression that was universal, even if her bioluminescent skin made it appear otherworldly. "Different," she said carefully, "but same." "Same?" Sarah asked. Zara pointed to her heart, then to each of them. "Feel same. Love. Family. Same." The word hung in the air between them. Family. It was a concept that transcended species. "Apparently." "Yes," Tom said quietly, understanding flooding his features. "Family is the same everywhere." That night, as Sarah tucked Zara into Emma's spare bed, the alien girl spoke in halting English. "Thank you for kindness. On my world, family is—" She searched for the word. "Sacred. You give me sacred gift." Sarah smoothed the covers, her maternal instincts extending naturally to this strange, beautiful girl. "You're welcome here, Zara, for as long as you need." As the house settled into sleep, Zara lay awake, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of earth. Crickets chirping, wind through trees, the distant hum of the highway. But underneath it all, she heard something else. The steady breathing of a family that had chosen to accept her, alien abilities and all. For the first time since her world died, Zara felt like she might have found something worth living for. 3 months into her stay with the Martinez family, Zara had become an integral part of their daily rhythm. She helped Sarah in the garden, where her connection to growing things proved invaluable. Their tomatoes had never been larger or more vibrant. She assisted Tom in his auto shop, where her ability to sense the health of metal and machinery made her an exceptional diagnostic tool. And she'd become Emma's constant companion, the two girls bonding over music and shared curiosity about each other's worlds. But it was her relationship with David that surprised everyone most of all. "The molecular structure of water on your planet must be different," David said, bent over his notebook as they sat on the front porch swing. He'd been documenting everything about Zara's abilities, treating her like a living science project. Until she gently corrected him, she was a person first, alien second. "Not different structure," Zara replied, her English now fluent though still musical. "Different relationship. On Kepler 442b, we are part of elements. Elements are part of us. Here, humans see separation where none exists." David looked up from his notes, really seeing her for the first time in days. Her silver-blue skin was painted with patterns of contentment, soft greens and golds that she'd learned to associate with Earth's beauty. She'd grown more beautiful as she'd grown happier, he realized. "I'm sorry," he said suddenly. "I've been treating you like an experiment, haven't I?" Zara's skin flickered with amusement. "You are curious. Curiosity is gift. But you forget. I'm curious too, about you, about feelings." "Feelings? On my world, we share emotions through skin patterns, through harmony of voices. But here, emotions are hidden, internal. I am learning to read face expressions, voice tones. David's feelings are complex." David felt heat creep up his neck. At 17, he was at an age where emotions were complicated enough without adding an alien girl to the mix. But Zara wasn't just any alien. She was intelligent, kind, and undeniably beautiful in an otherworldly way. "What do you mean?" he asked. "Your heart rate increases when you are near me. Your pupils dilate. Your skin temperature rises. These are signs of—" She paused, searching for the word attraction, but also fear. "Why fear?" David stared at her, amazed by her directness. "Because you're incredible, and you're not going to stay here forever. Someday you'll want to go home or go somewhere else, and I'll just be the farm boy who helped you fix your translator." Zara's skin pattern shifted to deep purple, sadness mixed with something else. "You think I see you as less than? Don't you?" She turned to face him fully, her violet eyes intense. "David Martinez, you taught me your language. You showed me your world's knowledge through books and computers. You helped me understand that intelligence and kindness can exist together. You made me feel less alone. How could you be less than?" Before he could respond, Emma burst through the front door. "Zara, Mom wants to know if you can help with dinner. She's trying to make that Kepler 442b dish you described." "Harmonic root stew," Zara smiled. "It will not taste the same with earth vegetables, but the intention is beautiful." As they walked inside, David caught her arm gently. "Zara, what you said earlier about attraction being mutual?" She smiled, her skin brightening with what he'd learned meant happiness. Yes, David, mutual. Dinner that evening was a celebration of cultural exchange. Sarah had managed to create a reasonable approximation of Zara's childhood comfort food, while Zara had prepared an earth dish, chocolate chip cookies that had become her favorite discovery about human cuisine. "This is why food is important," Zara explained, watching Tom bite into a cookie with obvious pleasure. "It is not just nutrition, it is connection, memory, love made edible." "Speaking of connection," Sarah said carefully, "we got a call today from someone claiming to be from the government. They were asking about unusual atmospheric disturbances in the area." The family tensed, but Zara remained calm. "They will not find me unless I choose to be found. My ship is cloaked beyond their technology." "But what if they do find you?" Emma asked, her voice small. "What if they want to take you away?" Zara reached across the table to squeeze Emma's hand. "Then we will deal with that when it comes. But for now I am here, I am part of this family, and that is enough." Tom cleared his throat. "Actually, about that, Sarah and I have been talking. We know you're not our biological daughter, but we've started the paperwork to make you our legal daughter, if you want that." Zara's skin erupted in a cascade of colors. Joy, gratitude, love and wonder swirling together in patterns too complex for human eyes to follow. Tears, a very human response she'd learned, slipped down her cheeks. "I want that very much," she whispered. "On my world, family bonds are chosen, not just born. You have chosen me, and I choose you." David felt his own eyes growing misty as he watched this incredible girl, this incredible person, officially become his sister. But even as joy filled the room, he couldn't shake the feeling that their happiness was fragile, that somewhere in the vastness of space, other forces were at work that could change everything. For now, though, they were together, and that was enough. The knock came at 3 a.m. on a cold February morning, 6 months after Zara's arrival. The Martinez family had grown accustomed to their expanded household, Zara helping with homework, contributing to chores, even earning a small income by helping Tom diagnose particularly stubborn automotive problems with her unique abilities. But the black SUVs parked in their driveway and the serious-faced agents at their door reminded them all that their situation was far from ordinary. "Mr. Martinez? I'm Agent Sarah Chen with a specialized government task force. We need to speak with you about an extraterrestrial presence in this area." Tom exchanged glances with his wife. They'd prepared for this moment, but that didn't make it less terrifying. "I'm not sure what you mean." "Sir, we have satellite imagery of an unidentified craft landing in your field 6 months ago. We also have reports of unusual phenomena in the area. Accelerated plant growth, unexplained electromagnetic readings, witnesses claiming to see aurora-like lights." From upstairs, Zara could hear every word. Her enhanced hearing had picked up the vehicle's approach long before they'd knocked. She'd already made her decision. "I'm going down," she whispered to David, who'd crept into her room when they'd heard. "The cars. Zara, no, we can hide you, we can—" "Hide where? From their technology, from their persistence?" She took his hand, her skin pulsing with calm blues and greens. "David, I will not let this family suffer for protecting me. That is not what family does. But what if they hurt you? What if they experiment on you?" Zara's expression grew serious. "Then I will show them that I am not helpless. But first, I will try understanding." She made her way downstairs, her bare feet silent on the wooden steps. When she appeared in the doorway of the living room, the agent's hands moved instinctively toward their weapons. "Please don't," she said calmly. "I mean no harm. I never have." "Agent." Chen stared at the girl before her, clearly not human, with her silver-blue skin and violet eyes, but also clearly not a threat. She was wearing Emma's old pajamas and holding a cup of hot chocolate, looking more like a sleepover guest than an alien invader. "You're the extraterrestrial presence we've been tracking," Chen said, though it was more statement than question. "I am Zara, daughter of Kepler 442b, and now daughter of Tom and Sarah Martinez," Zara replied with quiet dignity. "I'm a refugee whose world was destroyed by solar flares. These people gave me shelter when I had nothing. Our job is to assess potential threats to national security." "Am I threatening?" Zara interrupted gently. "In 6 months, have I harmed anyone? Have I attempted to contact hostile forces? Have I done anything but try to build a life with the family that saved me?" Agent Chen found herself studying this remarkable young woman. The briefing files had prepared her for an alien encounter, but not for this, not for someone who radiated such genuine warmth and humanity despite her obvious otherworldly nature. "Your abilities," Chen said carefully. "We understand you can manipulate matter. I can encourage plants to grow. I can sense the health of living things. I can move small amounts of water." Zara's voice was patient, as if she were explaining something to a child. "On my world, these were gifts used to heal, to nurture, to create beauty. Why would I use them differently here?" Sarah stepped forward, her maternal instincts overriding her fear of the government agents. "She's been nothing but a blessing to our family and our community. She's helped save crops during the drought, diagnosed illnesses in our neighbors' animals, even helped find a lost child by sensing their life force when they were trapped in a cave. The integration protocols we've developed," another agent began. "Integration protocols." Tom's voice grew hard. "She's not a specimen to be integrated. She's our daughter." Emma appeared at the top of the stairs, her young voice carrying clearly. "Are you going to take our sister away?" The simple question hung in the air. Sister. The word carried weight that transcended species, and even the government agents felt its impact. Agent Chen looked around the room, at the family photos that now included Zara, at the homework scattered on the table with both Emma's math problems and Zara's English essays, at the comfortable chaos of a home where love had made room for the impossible. "What do you want?" Chen asked Zara directly. "If you could have anything, what would you choose?" "To stay here," Zara replied without hesitation. "To finish my education, to help my family, to contribute to this community that has accepted me, to live a quiet life where I can use my gifts to help others. And if your homeworld were to contact you, if there were other survivors..." Zara's skin patterns shifted to show complex emotions: hope, sadness, determination. "Then I would want to help them find what I have found: safety, family, a place to call home." Agent Chen made a decision that would later be questioned by her superiors, but never regretted. "I'm going to recommend that you be allowed to remain under the guardianship of the Martinez family, with periodic check-ins to ensure continued peaceful integration." "Thank you," Tom said, his voice thick with emotion. "Don't thank me yet," Chen replied. "This is unprecedented. There will be conditions, oversight, protocols, but..." She looked at Zara, seeing not an alien threat, but a young woman who'd found her place in the world. But some things are more important than protocol. As the agents left, Zara stood with her chosen family on their front porch, watching the sun rise over the Iowa cornfields. Her skin patterns showed pure contentment, the deep gold of sunrise, the steady green of growing things, the warm blue of home. "We did it," Emma whispered. "We get to keep you." "No," Zara corrected gently. "We get to keep each other." 2 years had passed since the government's visit, and life had settled into a rhythm that felt as natural as breathing. Zara was now 19, a high school graduate with acceptance letters to 3 different universities. Her abilities had become an accepted part of the community. Farmers consulted her about crop problems, the local veterinarian called her for difficult cases, and the elementary school loved her visits, where she'd make flowers bloom in impossible colors to delight the children. But on this particular evening, as she sat in the garden behind the Martinez house, everything changed. The sensation started as a gentle humming in her bones, a vibration that resonated with her very DNA. She'd felt nothing like it since leaving Kepler 442b, and for a moment she thought she might be imagining it. Then her skin began to glow, not with the controlled patterns she'd mastered, but with the ancient rhythms of her home world. Zara. David appeared at the garden gate, now 20 and home from his first year of college. "What's happening? You're singing." She hadn't realized she was vocalizing, but the harmonics were pouring from her throat, the traditional greeting song of her people. Above them, the evening sky began to shimmer with lights that had nothing to do with Earth's atmosphere. "There, here," she whispered, her voice filled with wonder and terror. "My people, survivors, they're here." The Martinez family rushed outside as a craft unlike any earthly design descended silently toward their field. It was beautiful, constructed of the same crystalline materials as the towers of Kepler 442b, singing with harmonies that made the very air vibrate. 3 figures emerged from the craft, their skin glowing with the same bioluminescent patterns as Zara's, though their markings indicated they were older, more experienced. The leader, a woman who might have been Zara's grandmother, approached with formal dignity. "Zara, daughter of Lirin, daughter of Kepler 442b, the woman spoke in their native tongue, her voice like wind chimes. "We are the remnant. We have searched for you across the stars." Zara responded in kind, her voice cracking with emotion. "Elder Thala, I thought I was alone. I thought all were lost. Many were lost, but some survived. We have found a new world, a place where we can rebuild. We have come to take you home." The words hung in the air like a physical presence. Home. The thing Zara had thought she'd lost. Forever was being offered back to her. But as she looked at the Martinez family, Tom and Sarah holding hands, their faces brave despite the obvious pain of potential loss, Emma trying not to cry, David standing perfectly still as if moving might shatter everything, she realized that the word home had taken on new meaning. "How many survived?" she asked in English, wanting her Earth family to understand. 47, Elder Thala replied, switching to English with the universal translator common to all educated members of their species. "We have children who have never seen the singing towers, adults who dream of the purple sunsets of our world. We need every member of our people to survive as a culture." "I understand," Zara said softly, "but may I have time to consider?" "Of course, child, but we cannot remain long in this system. Other worlds need our help as well. We can give you 3 of your Earth days." That night, the Martinez family gathered around the kitchen table, their place for all important discussions. Zara sat between her 2 mothers now, Sarah, who had raised her with human love, and Elder Thala, who represented the culture of her birth. "I won't lie to you," Sarah said, her voice steady despite her tears. "I want you to stay. You're my daughter, and I can't imagine life without you. But I also know that your people need you, and that you might be giving up your only chance to connect with your birth culture." "What does your heart tell you?" Tom asked. His mechanic's hands clasped tightly on the table, Zara looked around the table at the family that had saved her, taught her, loved her unconditionally. Then she looked at Elder Thala, who represented 46 people who shared her biology, her cultural heritage, her unique abilities. "My heart tells me that love multiplies rather than divides," she said slowly. "Elder Thala, I want to help our people. I want to ensure our culture survives. But I also want to serve as a bridge between our worlds." She turned to address both families. "What if I went with them for 1 Earth year, I could help establish their new colony, teach the children about adaptation and survival, share what I've learned about living with other species. Then I could return here and serve as an ambassador between our peoples. The travel time alone would be, Elder Thala began, not an issue if I can convince them to establish regular contact with Earth. Think of what our peoples could learn from each other. Humans have remarkable resilience and adaptability. My people have knowledge of sustainable energy and biological harmony. Together, we could create something unprecedented. David, who had been silent through the entire discussion, finally spoke. What about us? What about your life here? Zara reached across the table to take his hand. David, I love you, not just as a brother, but more. I think I have for a long time. His intake of breath was audible, but she continued. 1 year to help ensure my people's survival, and then I come back to you, to all of you. If you'll wait. I'll wait forever, he said simply. Elder Thala studied the young woman who had clearly found her place between worlds. This is not the traditional way. Elder, nothing about our survival has been traditional. We are the remnant of a destroyed world, forced to adapt or die. Zara has proven that adaptation is possible. Perhaps it is time for our people to learn from her example. 3 days later, Zara stood once again in the field where she'd first crashed. But this time she wasn't leaving as a refugee. She was leaving as a bridge between worlds, carrying the love of her human family and the hope of her birth people. 1 year, she promised David, holding him tightly. 1 year, he agreed, and then we build something amazing together. As the crystalline ship lifted into the star-filled sky, Zara pressed her hand against the viewport and looked down at the small farmhouse that had taught her the meaning of home. In 1 year, she would return, not as an alien seeking shelter, but as a daughter coming home with the knowledge needed to help 2 worlds understand each other. The future stretched before them all, bright with possibility and bound by love, that transcended species, worlds, and the vast distances between stars.